Let's get into the issues of the day. Lots around. Let's bring in Deputy Executive Director of the Institute of Public Affairs, Daniel Wild, and our Sky News political reporter out of Canberra, Cam Redden. Thank you both for your time. Cam, this fight that blew up today between Labor and the Coalition over the issue of border security, we've been talking for some time about the 149 foreign criminals on the street. Then we've got this boatload of asylum seekers, of course, turning up in WA last week. But the issue of this week, first discussed here, of course, by James Patterson on this program, the visas for Palestinians out of Gaza. Everything he has put on the table was revealed by officials in estimates. This is a fact-based assessment. Some visas granted in an hour, most or a lot granted in a day. Genuine concerns that we have no consular officials in Gaza. I think these are legitimate, not scaremongering, Prime Minister. I think these are legitimate questions that the government should answer in a sober way rather than try and say it's a bit of politicking.
Well, you've really spelled out, Peter, how complex the task is here for border officials, because unlike Afghanistan and Syria, to quote Donald Rumsfeld, I suppose there are far more unknown unknowns around many of the people that come out of there, because unlike in those previous two examples, Gaza is governed wholly by Hamas, a terrorist organisation, a bad actor. And so what the opposition has really highlighted here and is demanding is the need for a meticulous process of scrutiny, because it's a tough job to identify these people, to vet them, and then even to bring them here. Of the 2,200 visas that have been granted, only 300 have yet to arrive in Australia, and 402 have been rejected. The government turning back to Home Affairs and pointing at them, essentially saying to the opposition that we've done it before, we can do it again. And the request here is really to trust the process. But as you've highlighted, Peter, this is as complex a task for the border officials as they could pretty much face.
I think next week I'm going to take people through the process of applying for some of these visas, because you'd be shocked to know if you're applying online, you just search your identity. It's only if the government, Australian government, comes back and says we need, a document from the local police or something to say that you are who you say you are. Well, in the case of a Gazan citizen, that's a document from Hamas, a terror organisation, or the Palestinian authorities. You can't trust the paper this stuff is printed on. So that's my homework for next week. It's a big issue, though, border security more broadly, isn't it, Daniel, in Dunkley? And interestingly now, we've got a new player in the mix. For a long time, the left has had Get Up out there, along with the left-wing parties, pushing a particular argument in a campaign. But now we've got Advance Australia, who were instrumental in the Voice No campaign. They're out there in Dunkley. They're emphasising the fact that the government's dropped the ball and the 149 foreign criminals out in the community. How do you think this is going to play out? Because it's certainly an Achilles heel for Labor.
Well, it is, and the entry of Advance Australia into the political scene in Australia has been, I think, an important development. As you say, it's basically levelled the playing field. For years, you've had Get Up and the unions and other either taxpayer-funded or certainly charity organisations that have charity status that are out there on behalf of either the Labor Party or left-leaning causes. We saw the importance of this throughout the Voice to Parliament debate and the referendum, where that was really led by Advance Australia in an operational sense, and they did a terrific job. And it's important that mainstream Australians have a voice in these issues, not only in the political arena, but I think on an issues-by-issues basis. Dunkley will be, I think, a barometer for how this new sort of campaign model in Australia might work. So far, everything they've been doing is factual. There's no denying that the advertisement they took out today was based on facts. Now, they may be inconvenient facts for those in the Labor Party, but certainly I think that we'll get a pretty good read on how this might play out following the Dunkley by-election.